Hi everybody, Charles here. Welcome to Backroads Living. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the coming winter and how it could affect many, maybe even millions of American citizens as they lose their jobs and are put out of homes and rental units. So stay tuned and we'll get right on into that. Hey everybody, Charles here. We've got in a new batch of flashlight tasers in our store at backroadslivingfinds.com. We will have a variety that changes colors from week to week. We rarely never know what colors are coming in, but we've got this fresh batch in this week, so be sure to jump over there and check them out before they get gone. As we've showed in other videos, these are great tasers. Some of them are charged by plugs you plug in a wall outlet like this, and others will be charged by your USB ports like this that you can plug right into your computer or to a plug that fits into a wall outlet. And these are great lights, just like so. As you can see, the light is really bright. Great lights. They come in with a carry case right here, nylon carry case that you can stick on your belt. As you can see right here is a place to put it on your belt. They have their lanyard already with them to carry in your hand. They're just wonderful items, and especially for you ladies who may be out at night shopping, going back and forth from your car after dark, or out jogging, out walking the dogs, whatever you may be doing, that you may encounter somebody you don't want around you or don't want bothering you. If you stick this to them, they're just not going to like that at all, and may give you an opportunity to get away or make them leave you alone. So again, thank you guys for stopping in and looking at these, and they are at backroadslivingfinds.com. I'll leave a link in the end of the video, so be sure and check it out. Hi folks. In today's video, we're going to be discussing some things that's been going on in the country, and a lot of it don't make any sense as to numbers or how things appear to be in one place, but yet are totally different in another. So let's look at that. Look at those numbers just a minute and talk a little bit about how this winter may affect a lot of people in our country. All right. Let's look at San Antonio Food Bank. Now this, we talked about the Dallas Food Bank 2 weeks ago, and then the week after that, this was the San Antonio Food Bank. It says, the writer of this article said 2 Americas were visible on Tuesday as the Dow Jones Industrial Average crossed 30,000 for the first time. That was what I was talking about. The president had come out and was bragging about what the Dow Jones, had climbed to, and it had never been done before. First time ever, the Dow's broke 30,000. Well, simultaneously, at this same time that he was doing this, hundreds of vehicles were snaked around a parking lot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, waiting in line at a local food bank. What does that help these people? It doesn't matter how high the stock market climbs when people's out of work. Folks, this stock market thing is just something to keep you looking at it. Oh, look how good we're doing. Look how good the United States is doing. The stock market's going real good. And over here, people's going hungry. Over here, people's losing jobs by the tens of thousands. People are being put out of work. Mortgages are going to be closed on. But yet, we've got a real high stock market. Well, you don't want to forget there was trillions of dollars put into the stock market. Trillions of dollars put in the stock market to hold it up. Had nothing to do with these people who are losing their jobs. There wasn't trillions of dollars put into the economy in the form of people. It was put in there in the big corporations. So let's keep that in mind when we look at the stocks. That means nothing right now. This suggests the K-shaped economic recovery, one where the rich grow richer and the working poor are crushed with job loss and insufferable amounts of debt. It's getting much worse by the month.
And it is. Every month it's getting worse. For more on the rapid re-emergence of food bank lines, or what will be the new normal, we're already seeing the new normal. It's not going to go back to the way it used to be. People are not going to stand up and claim their rights as American citizens. They're going to be led right on and do just exactly what their government officials tell them to do without ever considering what's best for themselves or their family. They're just going to follow the government because the government's always right. In a severely broken economy that is in desperate need of structural reform, Eric Cooper, CEO of the San Antonio Food Bank in Texas, on Tuesday told CNBC's Shepard Smith that demand at his food bank has more than doubled this year. Every article we read about food banks has said that. The one in Dallas said 40% of the people that came into their food banks that day, of the 25,000 people they served that weekend, 40% of them were first-time food bank participants. And people say, oh yeah, I see a lot of people coming into those food banks. They don't need that money. They're driving Cadillacs, or they're driving big fine SUVs. Don't matter what you're driving. When you lose your job, you've still got to eat. A lot of those folks will be losing those vehicles. Don't judge these people just because they're driving nice vehicles. A lot of these folks have been put out of jobs. A lot of these folks have not had money to pay their mortgages, and they're having to do whatever they can to eat. Yes, there will be people who take advantage of the system. There will be people who get in those lines that do not need it. But that's a very minimum amount of those people. The people that are in those lines, for the majority, are people that have lost jobs. They don't have money to pay their rent. They don't have money to pay their mortgage. They don't have money to keep the roof over their head. And they're just trying to find food. Most of them in Dallas, Texas, were looking for food for Thanksgiving. And that's what they were trying to do for those people. It's just hard. People are finding it hard right now. It doesn't matter what the stock market says. People are finding it hard. And we're coming into winter again. That's the thing I want to emphasize here, is that it's winter. We got snow here today in southeastern Kentucky. I'll show you some photos of that and a short 1-minute video right here.
This is our first snow of the year. Looks like Bob has him a squirrel treat.
It got down in the mid-20s last night here at our house. Now, if we had our home foreclosed on and we didn't have anywhere to live, we would have had to try to spend the night in our car in hopes that we had enough money in our pocket to keep the car running through the night to keep it warm. Or we would have had to try to went to some family's home and spent the night with them. It's getting cold outside. There's going to be a lot of people looking for a lot of things when they start losing their houses. Folks, this is why it's so important. This is why it is so important to keep your pantry stocked. Keep your pantries full up as you can. You don't know whose life you may have to save in the middle of a bitter cold night or a bitter cold day. Just handing out a piece of food to somebody to get them through, feeding somebody a warm meal to get them through, may be a lifesaver. We never know about those things. Times are going to get hard. You're going to have to take care of your family, and you're going to have to defend your home from time to time in the future. Don't know how soon that's going to happen, but as cold as it's getting, and it's going to get colder. And I mentioned in the last video that I called it a cold, dark winter. Can you survive a cold, dark winter? The only way we're going to get through this stuff is we're going to have to be ready for it. Now, Sandy and I have been looking at generators. We've been looking at backup sources of heat. We don't have that yet, but we do have means to get by. Well, I guess we do kind of have a backup source of heat. We have gas heat here. Of course, our central unit won't run if the power's out, but our gas range will still run, and that puts out some heat. But we're looking at getting a ventless gas heater to put here in the house, and hopefully a little bit later on maybe a generator to help for when the power goes out. And coming into winter, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how much snow we're going to get. We don't know how much rain we're going to get. We don't know any of those things. And when you have wet snowstorms with ice freezing on the lines, it breaks the lines down, it breaks the trees down, and they fall over the lines, and the power can be out for days and days on end. We had a storm come through here back in the spring of the year at Easter, and the one that came up the coast and done just massive amount of destruction, and power was out for weeks and weeks for people. Well, we got the edge of that storm, and it knocked our power out here for 3 days. So you don't ever know when things are going to happen. You've got to have your pantry stocked. You've got to have your food put back, your supplies ready. It's not just for national emergencies. It's not just for collapse of the economy. It's for everyday life. It's for things that can happen any day, any time. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of stuff going on, a whole lot of stuff going on that we don't really know all the ins and outs to, but we do know enough about it to know that there are some things going on behind the scenes that are going to affect this country for years and years and years to come. This right here is something I want you to understand too. This is another reason why you need to have your pantry stocked and be ready for cold weather. Now, right here in New Mexico, Governor Grisham had just out of the blue, just like that, locked down New Mexico, shut down grocery stores, shut down big box stores, just crippled the people, buddy. And as you see in this picture right here, people have been standing in line for 2 to 4 hours just to get in grocery stores to buy groceries. Some of them have been standing in spitting snow and spitting rain, and it's cold outside, buddy. Cold outside. And there's no need to have to do this. There's no need to have to do this. If you will prep your pantries, if you'll get your stock together and put your stuff back, you won't have to stand out in the cold like this. You can be ready for this. And you know what? You can do it. I know you can. And I know many of you are already ready for this, that you wouldn't have to stand out in the cold. And that's a wonderful thing. I'm so glad for that. Man, I've heard so many people say on here that they've just started prepping, and this has been a month or so back when we first started this channel. And that warms my heart to know that people are taking heed to this thing, and that they're listening and understanding that things can happen. And we do need to emphasize too, though, that beyond just emergencies like this, like hurricanes and storms and fires like they had out in California, and all these things that can happen. Outside of that, we can have man-made disasters, just like this one right here in New Mexico. This is a man-made disaster. This is not the COVID-19 disaster. This disaster is man-made, and this lockdown has been implemented by the governor of the state. So these people are now suffering from it. They're the ones suffering. Do you think that the governor's going hungry? Do you think the governor's suffering in any way from this lockdown? Why, no. These governors that had lockdowns through the holiday seasons, they were out living it up and having parties and attending parties. And some of the governors were saying that it's we're not supposed to be traveling right now. Do not travel. And then within an hour, they were on a plane heading to visit their families. So, folks, these politicians are not suffering anything. So do not put your trust in politicians. Fill your pantry. Put your trust in God Almighty, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Prepare yourself mentally and physically, but also prepare yourself spiritually, because We don't know what's coming down the road, and we need to be prepared spiritually for it. We need to be prepared to stand before God in judgment someday with what we've done in this life, because there is a life to come. And without knowing the Lord Jesus Christ, we're going to stand before Him guilty. Guilty. So be ready for that also. We don't know what's coming, but we do know that with the grace of God, if we know Him and we are known of Him, if we know that, then we know His grace will be sufficient for us. And we know that what we put aside and what we put back will be sufficient for us through His blessings on it. See, God blesses this stuff. The Lord blesses the work of your hands. When you do the things that God has given you to do, He told Adam to go out and subdue the earth. And after Adam's failure, He said, now you're going to have to labor, Adam. You're going to have to till the land. You're going to have to work the land to make a living. And that's what we've had to do ever since then. And God gives us that opportunity. God has given us a window of opportunity to do what we can right here with this pandemic. And I hope that you've got ready. I hope you've worked hard prepping your pantries. I hope you've worked hard trying to get ready, because this winter's not going to be easy. Folks, it's right on top of us. It's right on top of us. We need to be ready for it. Don't be caught having to stand in food lines to buy groceries for 2 to 4 hours at a time. Have your pantries ready. Have your family ready. Have them prepared spiritually for this thing that's coming. Get together and talk with your families and let them know that you care for them and that you want them to be ready for this thing. There's a lot of our family that we've talked to about this that is just like water running off a duck's back. They never ever hear it. They're not ready. They're not going to be ready. It's going to be a sad time when all these things happen and people find themselves in dire need. So let's keep all these people in prayer, and let's keep our pantries prepped at all times, always, continually. Every time you go to the store, fill in another gap, fill in a hole in that pantry. Guys and girls, if you can afford generators, get you one. Whether it's solar or whether it's electric. If you can afford a backup source of heat, if it's a wood stove, whatever it might be, it's still not too late to put in your backup heat. Get it and do it if you can do those things. If you live in an area that you can't put in backup heat, maybe you're in an apartment or things like that, go back over the videos we talked about earlier. Get wool blankets, get comforters, get things like that you can stay warm under in case you have an emergency. So keep that in mind. And we're going to have a tough winter ahead. But with the grace of God, we'll all get through it. Okay, so everybody be blessed. And until then, we'll see you in the next video.